Can you imagine a time when even looking sad in front of the king could get you executed?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Talk about pressure, right?
That's intense.
That's the world Nehemiah was dealing with.
Yeah.
And we're going to be taking a look at his leadership
Okay.
during some really intense times.
Interesting.
So we're exploring a lesson plan that focuses on the book of Nehemiah from the Bible.
Okay, cool.
And I think we're going to unpack some really interesting leadership insights today.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Nehemiah was the cupbearer to King Artaxerxes.
The cupbearer.
Yeah.
That sounds
I know you might be thinking cupbearer. It
Yeah.
sounds kind of simple, right?
not very glamorous.
Not glamorous at all,
Oh.
but it was a position of immense trust and influence.
Really? How so?
Well, the cupbearer's main job was to taste the king's wine
Oh, okay.
before he drank it.
To make sure it wasn't poisoned.
Exactly.
Wow, so he was like a human shield.
Yeah, basically.
That's a lot of
It was
responsibility.
big responsibility.
Yeah.
This role placed Nehemiah super close to the king,
Yeah.
giving him access that most people could only dream of.
It's like having a direct line to the most powerful person in the kingdom.
It is.
But it also meant Nehemiah had to be extra careful.
Oh, for sure.
The king wasn't exactly known for being understanding.
No, he wasn't.
If you came in with a bad mood,
Not at all.
any sign of sadness could be seen as disrespect or even treason.
Yeah, so showing any negative emotion, it could be seen as like a challenge to the king's authority,
Yeah, that makes sense.
leading to some pretty serious consequences.
Yeah, I can see how Nehemiah was walking a tightrope there.
Yeah. So picture this, right? He's living this comfortable life in the palace,
Okay.
but his heart is heavy with worry.
Okay.
For Jerusalem, his home,
Yeah.
which at this time was in ruins,
Total disaster.
total disaster, broken walls, burned gates, the whole 9 yards.
So what did he do?
He couldn't just go to the king and say, "Hey, your majesty,
Yeah.
Jerusalem's looking a bit rough." What do you think?
No, way too risky.
Way too risky.
He had to be really strategic. So strategic about how he approached the king.
Nehemiah knew that revealing his sadness was incredibly risky,
Yeah.
but his burden for Jerusalem was just too heavy to ignore.
Right. He had to find that balance
Exactly.
between his own feelings
Yeah.
and the politics of the situation.
Absolutely, and that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
So one day the king notices that Nehemiah seems down.
Uh-oh.
I know, right?
Most people would just freeze up.
I think I would just faint.
Yeah.
You've got the king staring you down, asking why you're not your usual cheerful self.
That's high stakes.
Super high stakes.
Yeah.
But this is where Nehemiah's leadership really shines.
Okay.
He doesn't panic.
Okay.
Instead of immediately responding to the king,
What does he do?
he takes a moment and prays silently to God,
Wow, that's powerful.
right?
In that moment.
Yeah.
He recognizes that it's bigger than himself
It is
and seeks guidance before doing anything.
exactly.
Shows a lot about his character.
Yeah. And his reliance on a power beyond himself.
Even when he's under so much pressure.
He's grounding himself
Right.
in something bigger.
Before this difficult conversation.
So after that moment of prayer, he tells the king the truth,
What does he say?
that he's sad because Jerusalem, the city of his ancestors, is in ruins.
I wonder how the king reacted.
And get this, the king, instead of getting angry, is actually moved by Nehemiah's honesty.
Really?
I know.
That's surprising.
He asks him, "What is it you want?"
Wow.
And that response right there
Yeah.
shows the relationship that Nehemiah had with the king
He really had earned the king's trust
and respect.
through being faithful and competent.
All of his actions, his integrity, his dedication, they all led up to this moment.
It's like he had built this foundation of trust
Yes.
that allowed him to have this tough conversation.
And this is where we see a powerful leader emerge.
Okay.
The king, impressed by Nehemiah's sincerity, grants his request to go back to Jerusalem.
And rebuild the wall.
Yes. He even gives him letters of safe passage and access to resources.
It's like his character and actions opened doors that
Really?
would have stayed closed otherwise.
It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest strength
Yeah.
comes from acknowledging our vulnerabilities
And speaking our truth.
with courage and respect.
I like that.
But not everyone was happy with Nehemiah's big plans.
Oh, no.
There were some who were not thrilled at all.
Who?
We'll call them Sanballat and Tobiah.
Okay.
These were two powerful officials who were really disturbed by Nehemiah's mission.
Why were they so against it?
Oh, they felt threatened.
By the changes?
by the changes Nehemiah was bringing.
It's like they were saying, hey, who does this guy think he is coming in here and shaking things up?
Yeah, they weren't happy about it at all.
Makes you think about how anytime someone tries to lead and do something good,
Yeah.
there's always going to be pushback.
There's always going to be someone who's not happy about it.
So how did Nehemiah handle that?
So instead of getting discouraged or engaging in pointless arguments,
Right.
Nehemiah decides to do something pretty sneaky.
What's that?
He goes on a secret reconnaissance mission at night.
A secret mission.
I know, right?
That's so cool.
He wanted to see the damage for himself.
So he could really understand what he's dealing with.
Yes. This shows a key part of being a good leader.
What's that?
Planning and preparing.
Yeah, he didn't just rush into things.
Nehemiah understood that rebuilding the walls wasn't just about passion.
Right.
It required a strategic approach
Yeah, he had to gather information and assess the situation.
before he could even start.
This is such a good example of thoughtful leadership.
So we see Nehemiah demonstrating courage, faith, and now strategic planning.
That's quite the combination.
What an incredible combination for a leader.
It shows that good leadership isn't just about inspiration.
It's about taking practical steps, doing the groundwork, and making smart decisions.
It's that balance between vision and action.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning of Nehemiah's amazing journey.
I can't wait to hear more.
Stick with us as we continue to explore his story
I'm ready.
and unpack even more leadership lessons.
I'm excited. Nehemiah doesn't just rush in all excited. He actually has a smart plan.
Yeah, it's like building a house. You need a blueprint first, right?
Exactly.
You don't just start laying bricks without a plan.
You got to know what you're doing.
Nehemiah gets that.
Yeah.
He knows rebuilding the walls is going to take a lot of people materials, and he needs to know how bad the damage is.
He needs to assess the situation.
Right. And that's why he does that secret mission at night.
Yeah.
He checks out the damage, figures out what needs fixing, and gets all the info before he even tells anyone.
That's thinking ahead.
It's a perfect example of good leadership in action.
I like it.
This part of Nehemiah's story is like a guide for anyone starting a big project.
It really is.
Whether you're starting a business or planning a community event,
Yeah.
that first planning stage can make or break you.
So true.
So now Nehemiah has a plan, and the king is on his side.
Sounds good so far.
But remember Sanballat and Tobiah?
Oh, yeah, those guys.
They're not going to just sit back and watch him succeed.
What do they do?
They're furious. It's like they're saying, who does this guy think he is?
Yeah.
Coming in here and changing everything.
I bet they felt pretty threatened.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even a little jealous
For sure.
of his vision and how determined he was.
They try everything to stop him.
Like what?
They make fun of him, threaten him, even try to trick him into dangerous situations.
Wow, some serious opposition.
Yeah, and this just shows what happens when you step up to lead.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people who try to bring you down.
It's tough, but it's true.
How does Nehemiah deal with all this negativity?
I mean, I'd be tempted to just give up.
Me too, go back to the palace where it's easy.
Right.
But Nehemiah, he's resilient.
Okay.
He keeps his eyes on the prize, the restoration of Jerusalem.
He doesn't let them distract him.
And he doesn't get pulled into their drama.
He's got to be frustrated though, right?
Oh, I'm sure he was tempted to fight back. But he doesn't stoop to their level.
He takes the high road.
He knows that getting into fights will only slow him down.
Smart move.
So instead, he focuses his energy on the work.
Okay.
He inspires others and keeps his eyes on the goal.
That's such a good lesson.
It's so easy to get caught up in conflict.
It really is.
But sometimes the best thing to do is just focus on what you need to do.
Yeah, let your actions do the talking.
Exactly.
But Nehemiah can't do this all alone, right?
Oh, definitely not.
Rebuilding those walls is a huge job.
He needs to get the people of Jerusalem to help him
Right. He's got to get them excited about it.
and make them feel like they're part of something important.
Like a team.
And that's exactly what he does.
What does he do?
He reminds them of their history,
Okay.
their connection to Jerusalem, and how important it is to rebuild not just the walls,
But their whole community.
their sense of who they are.
He's like a cheerleader.
He's more than just a leader.
Yeah.
He's a motivator, a unifier.
He brings people together.
He makes everyone feel like they're an important part of the rebuilding process.
He's really good at this.
So he gives different families responsibility for different sections of the wall.
Oh, that's clever.
It makes them feel ownership.
Yeah. And it encourages teamwork.
He celebrates their progress,
Okay.
acknowledges their hard work,
That's important.
and he leads by example.
How so?
He works right alongside them, showing them that he's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
Wow. He's not just bossing people around.
Nope, he's right there with them.
Facing the same challenges.
That kind of commitment from a leader.
Yeah.
It builds trust and makes people want to do their best.
That's inspiring.
Nehemiah's leadership goes beyond just giving orders.
Right.
It's about serving others, empowering them.
And creating a vision that everyone can get behind.
This is where Nehemiah's story feels so real.
Yeah, even after all these years.
Have you ever felt really passionate about something?
Yeah.
A cause or a project that felt impossible?
I think we've all been there.
Nehemiah's story shows us that even the biggest dreams can come true.
It's true.
If you have faith, you keep going and you're not afraid to take a chance.
It's about not letting fear stop you.
Yeah. Pushing past the doubts and the negativity.
And going after what you believe in.
It makes me think about the times I've felt called to do something big,
Yeah.
to lead or to make a difference.
Those moments can be scary.
They are, but Nehemiah shows us that it's okay to feel those doubts and fears.
Right.
They're normal, but we don't have to let them control us.
He always turned to prayer for guidance and strength.
It's like he's finding his peace in the middle of the storm.
That's a good way to put it.
I love how he includes prayer in his leadership.
It's not just about the practical stuff. It's
Right.
about connecting with something bigger.
Yes, something that gives him the power to keep going. And Nehemiah is really good at weaving prayer into his leadership. It shows that you don't have to just rely on yourself when things get tough.
It is powerful to connect with something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, you're not alone.
He shows us the importance of community, too.
Yeah.
He didn't try to do everything himself.
Right. He realizes everyone has their own talents and skills.
And he uses those skills to help with the rebuilding.
A true leader isn't about being a superhero.
It's about teamwork.
Yeah, it's about making a team working together and valuing what each person brings to the table.
It's about making sure everyone feels important,
I love that.
like they're part of something bigger.
So he gives people responsibility,
Yeah.
celebrates their wins, acknowledges their struggles, and walks with them every step of the way.
That's a great picture of what a leader should be.
It is. It makes me think about the best leaders I've known,
The ones who inspire you.
the ones who are willing to get their hands dirty right alongside you,
You're not just telling you what to do.
leading by example.
It all comes down to trust and inspiring others with your actions.
Nehemiah's story is about so much more than just being in charge.
Yeah.
It's about getting people excited to work together towards something amazing.
It's about that energy of working together. Right.
To make something great happen.
Nehemiah's story, even though it's thousands of years old, still feels relevant today.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a guide for leadership in any situation.
Yeah. Whether you're leading at work or in your community.
Even just trying to make a positive impact in your own life.
Nehemiah reminds us that challenges are part of doing something worthwhile,
Yeah.
but they don't have to stop us.
He shows us that we can choose how we react.
Right.
Rise above the negativity.
And focus on what really matters.
Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit your weaknesses, ask for help, and surround yourself with good people.
That makes a big difference.
Nehemiah's story reminds us that even when things seem impossible,
One person's vision can make a huge impact
their dedication and faith can start a movement.
and create change.
It's inspiring.
As we finish looking at Nehemiah's leadership,
Yeah.
it makes you think about what broken walls we see in our own lives.
What are the challenges we need to face?
Maybe it's a relationship that needs fixing. Yeah. Or something unfair in the world that we need to fight against.
Or maybe it's a community project that needs our help.
Whatever those walls are.
Nehemiah's story encourages us to do something about it
To lead with courage and compassion.
and work together to rebuild what's broken.
We can all be wall builders.
But we can all make a difference.
Even small actions can create big change.
It all starts with taking that first step.
Leading with your heart and believing that you can make a difference